My name is Anthony,
My name's Gabby.
and we are here to help you with voiceover. Yes. All right. Coffee mug salute. We should call it coffee mug salute. Okay, so that's where we got today.
I have
What
I
do
have
you
my
have?
Darth Vader
Ooh,
Empire.
very
Yep, yep,
nice.
yep,
Very nice.
yep.
They seem to like to get me these dad jokes. I don't know if they're
Oh,
trying to tell me something about myself, but mine are backward. Like
your
we were talking
kids
about
are
this the other
adorable.
day. It's
It looks
backwards, right?
totally fine. It
Oh,
seems that way to us, but it looks totally fine. Yep,
okay. That's
yep.
interesting. All
It
right.
is.
So
It is.
that's what you were saying. I
Yeah,
got you.
it
Yeah, yeah,
mirrors,
yeah.
but it looks totally fine. But that's a
Hmm.
cute mug. I like that one.
Yeah, I did too. I like it. It's a nice one. It's got four, in the card too, kind of a slit there.
Ooh,
Ooh, fancy.
fancy.
Yes. Well, it is good to see everybody today. Welcome. If you are new or joining us, either way, please leave a hello. Tell us where you're from in the chat,
Yeah,
and and as always, please feel free to ask questions. We'd love to answer them.
we do. We do.
Today, again, it's Friday, May 9th. So happy Friday. Today we are talking about performative styles,
Mm-hmm.
right? We're going to be
Mm-hmm.
talking about different performative styles. As I live and breathe, Zach, it has been a while, my friend. Welcome. Good to see you again, man.
I love
Zach
hanging out here.
is on top of being a voice actor, he's also a magician, and it's really cool. So,
Love that.
hope that's going well, my friend. All right, so performative styles. What say you
Mm.
on performative styles?
I mean, of course, there's, continuing on with what we were talking about yesterday, there's what's trending, what's popular, And you kind of cracked me up because of course everybody wants to sort of crap on and poo-poo announcer because it has been a minute since announcer has been fashionable.
Right.
And yet you went, but it's not dead. And even I wanted to argue, right? I
Right.
wanted, and then
Oh
guess what I
no.
spent my morning
Oh
doing?
no. Doing an announcer job.
Yeah, yeah. I spent my morning in a five-figure announcer session
Wow.
that
Isn't that funny?
entailed over a dozen individual spots. And
Wow.
this is for a client I've had for a long time. It's for an internet company, and I do a lot of their stuff. And it just kind of I went, God, it is. It's so announcery. It didn't even. Yeah, yeah.
And that's so what how we came about it yesterday, just to quick as everybody's remember, is we were talking about improvisation, and we were talking about somehow we got into kind of different styles and
Mhm,
how
mhm.
improvisation can help you in different areas, and to grow as a voice actor. And we started talking about there's so many of these styles like announcer out there that are not right fashionable anymore. There was so much time spent, I think, in our community being pushing away and going to this whole new. We're probably in the age of the conversational
Yeah.
read. At this point, it's academic, but myself, you apparently, Cooley, and many others, you still
Mhm.
get hired here and there
Yeah.
for announcer stuff. And here's a perfect example: just turn on your radio in your car, and you will inevitably hear
Mhm.
some sort of announcer style radio
Yeah.
ad, you know?
And I think where we have to be, careful, right? So like on the announcer side, and this is somebody who comes from broadcasting, this is what I've always been aware of and try to impart from students is that there's a big difference, obviously, between the material that's being produced on a regional or a national level coming out of an ad agency or a creative house and the stuff that's being done by the local radio station,
Mm,
the stuff that's being
mhm.
turned out in house. The in house stuff is always going to be a little. Mm, it's gonna be a little cheesier and it's gonna be a little bit lower value. But if we look at, I mean, I think about like, okay, let's run through the list. Mattress companies, car manufacturers on
Car
a regional,
manufacturing.
cars on a regional level, not a national level, but
Mhm.
anything hyper retail, furniture stores.
Oh my goodness, anything going out of business.
Yeah. Oh geez. Any kind of sale for any department stores.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
we see even things like,
And
um,
live events, I always
yes,
think of
always live events,
monster
concerts,
truck concerts,
sports,
yes.
Yeah. So it still does, yeah, it exists. And there's varying degrees of like how much of a hard sell is it,
Yes.
right? How much of that peppy, over, joyful, happy helper
Yeah.
type is it? That tends to be what I do a lot of. Yeah, and so, but it still exists. It's definitely still alive. And so
Absolutely.
we have that juggled with, you know, the hyper real, conversational, very off the cuff sound, which for a lot of people, a lot of voice actors, especially in the beginning, they kind of get dismayed because they go, it sounds boring,
Mm.
right? It
Mhm.
sounds like I'm not doing anything. It sounds
Yes.
like,
It was very funny you bring that up because I
mm,
was in a meeting this morning with a student of mine, and that's exactly what we were talking about. And I always
yeah.
you guys have probably heard it a million times, but I always say it's the mile of crap between your mouth and the microphone. And what I mean by that is there's something that happens, I think, to a lot of us when we turn on the mic and we
Mhm.
either sit here or stand up. It's like all of a sudden I have to perform. It just happens. It comes
Yeah.
out of us. I don't know
Yeah.
where. And it's the craziest thing is it happens to everyone, even if you are not you've not been an actor before. Something you just have this ingrained thing in your mind that
Mhm.
something I have to do something.
Mhm.
But here's the thing I wanted to say as we keep going more into performative styles. Anytime something or a method or a style overtakes an industry and it becomes the norm, that means that everything that's no longer the norm will eventually be coming back and
Oh,
be,
yeah.
interesting. So we have a lot of these things. And here's another thing to consider. With AI, the race with AI has been to do what? Make it more real, more conversational. I find it absolutely hilarious when we have our voice actors being hired to be robots.
Mm.
I
Mhm.
think it's so and you all know what I'm talking about,
Mm.
the corridor 39 flooded, something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
they're
yeah.
out of robots
Yeah.
and we're
The
sitting in the age
android.
of
Mhm.
AI, and that tells you that the performative nature of what we do is more alive than ever. And then it leads you, I think, to logically say, okay, well, these are all performative styles.
Mhm.
They're different types of ways to deliver a message.
Yeah.
um, One of my favorite one is I guess you'd call it like maybe the sarcastic comedian, read, and I might be the wrong one, but it's this is George. George looks happy. Is he really happy? I don't think so. Like that. There's a right, and those are reads. I've done so many of
The
those.
narrator. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
and then think of different types of storytelling when it comes to character roles.
Mhm.
So many. I do a lot of character stuff, especially around Halloween, and it's a lot of commercials. You're just a
Yeah.
character, who plays commercial. Um, so a lot of these, and also accents. I think someone
Mm.
just said, I am working on something now. I'm doing a 1920s British newsreel type voice. It's so much fun.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many different ways
Oh, for sure.
to be a voice actor and to have fun. And one, the conversational read is a part of everything we do, but that is just one
Yeah.
aspect of it. So, from a performance standpoint, Gabby, what do you, when we're looking at, well, let's start with discovery.
Mm.
How, if you were like, okay, I want to expand my range, I've been doing nothing but working on
Mhm.
being conversational, being real.
Mm.
But, hey, I'm listening to you too, and you're talking about other
Mhm.
jobs you're working
Mhm.
on. From a beginning standpoint, from a discovery, how do I begin to discover more performative styles? Like what's out there? Like how do I know what I don't know? How do I find that out?
Change your body. Change your body, change your voice. That's probably the simplest, right, most capsized answer to that I could come up with, or most compact, not capsized. It's Friday. Give me a break.
No, 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 that's okay.
Yeah.
No, I was meaning more like where do we go? Like where do you go to even find out that there's different styles?
Oh,
Do you know what I mean? Like
I mean,
let's
oh,
start there
geez.
because I've worked with a lot of people who they're not
Yeah.
sure, they don't know, or they've not ever thought
Um,
about it.
wow. That's for I always first and foremost look up archetypes in different genres.
Hmm.
Talk to people that have exposure to other types of media that you don't. You know, talk to your gamer friends. They're going to know so much about so many different types of characters that they can introduce you to. And if they're super geeky gamers, they will like be happy to sit down with you and engage in conversations about this.
Hmm.
Watch some cartoons, watch different styles of movies, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's kind of like Knives Out, the whole Knives Out series, which
Oh
obviously, you
yeah.
know, it's based on Clue or Risk or,
Right, right,
you
right,
know,
right.
all of those classic board game type whodunit. Watch anything like that, any sort of whodunit movie, and you're going to have a whole cast of characters available to choose from instantly, because that's the
Hmm.
formula that works there. And that's what's so fun, is to bring these different people together and see the interactions. Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, that's good. We just had somebody else reminded me too. Movie trailer.
Mhm.
I mean, promo, that's a different style of
Oh, for
voice.
sure.
And it's funny because there was a period of time where we thought the old, Don LaFontaine style
Mhm.
would go away. But the funny thing is it hasn't. I hear it all the
No.
time still, you
There's a
know?
gentleman, named Gabriel Kundo. He has basically taken over
Mm.
as Don.
Oh
He is
yeah.
he's the new Don LaFontaine, and this, and he's very young, and he does a ton of trailer work. Yeah. No,
And
it
Brent, I mean Brent,
Mhm. Mhm.
Brent does a lot as well,
Yeah.
and it's not, and there's entire, I'm on his roster. There's just so much of that going on
Mhm.
everywhere.
Yeah.
For a while they did away with it. And they did change it, right? Because in movies, a lot of times now it's clips and you hear
Yeah.
it with the actors, right? But the tags and everything are still the same. It's still the, see it tonight.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
mean, it's
yeah.
the same sort
Yeah.
of, and it's going on now all
That's
over the
right.
place.
Yeah, of course, of course.
you know?
Yeah, it really doesn't change. That's what's crazy about it.
Hmm.
Um, and there is
And
there's
you're not going to
still
get AI doing that.
no,
Yeah, at least I've not heard
no.
that yet, right? Where
No.
they're taking, they're doing that other stuff. I've never heard it. So,
And it's funny, I mean, AI is a whole nother subject, but like
yeah.
all the AI I've heard in the wild has mainly been on TikTok, and it's terrible.
Well, yeah, that
And
it is. It does.
people
I mean,
immediately know that it's AI.
mhm,
And then the rest of where I'm seeing it get used, and all of my friends in the creative community, like they're all confirming this. They're like, yeah, we're using it for scratch tracks.
mhm.
We're using it for placeholders,
That's a
you
perfect example.
know.
That's what I
Mhm.
get. So
Yeah.
when I get hired, typically the reference material I get is a video with a scratch track of an AI on
AI.
it.
Mhm.
Just
Yep.
for pacing purposes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
you're absolutely right.
Mhm.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
So so I do think so another thing too is with all of that, listen to demos.
Yeah.
Listen to
Yeah.
demos, listen to what people are doing.
Yeah.
It's easy. One of a good thing to go to, whether you're on any website or not, is go to a website that has a lot of voice actors on there with different demos.
Yeah.
Go to the categories and genres and start to go through them and sort them, and then and just start to listen. Just as if you're trying to be a stage actor, film or films or a screen actor, you've got to go and watch and listen. And in our cases, listen to these things in order to learn more about all the different ones out there.
Yeah. It's also a great way to understand, you know, for your own perspective, like to start seeing like what's working and what's not, what's booking, what's not. You start to formulate your ideas of what's good and in the industry, and I think that's important. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. We've got a question from Alex. Do I just need to start in places like Voice One, Two, Three, and get into auditioning other? And he also put down he just got started and
Mm,
he started a Fiverr gig yesterday.
mm.
So it sounds, Alex, like you're starting to just try to figure out how am I going to market myself? How am I going to get myself out there? That's a whole nother. It's a big. That's a
It is.
I teach, so VO Journey Academy Live. We got to talk about. I mean, this is the sort of thing that I love this thing that Gabby and I are doing together, and we're talking, we're getting out to you guys and being able to share. But you need to also be at a place where there is a curriculum, a setup to where they can teach you all of the things, like in this
Yeah.
case marketing and acting, where you have classes where you have that ability, which is what we do at VO Journey Academy Live.
Yeah, you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
And so, unfortunately, that's how people make a lot of unnecessary mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and usually make mistakes because they're guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And guessing in this industry, not the smartest idea.
Yeah.
It will hurt you before it helps you.
It is. I absolutely agree. And not to go too deep into it, but I'm trying to, Alex, and I'm not sure if I'm trying to read between the lines. I'm not sure if you mean like how many do I need to branch out, or where do I need to go to present different styles. I don't know if that's what you mean. I think if you look at the latter there, yeah, I mean, if you are looking to do alternative things, you need to find how you're going to reach people who are looking for those particular services that you're offering. So that's an important thing. So like if you're going to do a movie trailer, right? You want to be a movie trailer voice actor. Where are people hiring movie trailer voice actors? You've got to go and find that. And we've been doing a whole series on specialization, and Gabby and I have been kind of tag teaming some marketing things about identifying that. We should talk about that at some point. Identifying, what who we are, our positioning statement, a variety of different marketing tools. So I think this kind of boils down to that in a way, right? What are you trying to do? Remember, when you generalize, okay, you get forgotten.
Mm,
You have to specialize. Now you could argue we specialize in voiceover. That's true, but I find that categories do help. It's not enough time to get into this, but being specializing will keep you remembered.
mm-hmm.
We like when was the
Yeah.
last time you told someone, "Hey, this guy, he just does anything. You should talk to him." I mean, like that doesn't I mean, seriously, right?
Yeah.
Like he does anything. And I don't mean like this contractor will do anything. I'm saying, we forget generalizations. We remember specialists. So it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
All right, so we got PSV says, "What is the app for your website academy?" That is a great question. I'm gonna type it in the chat. It's VOsJourney.com. Okay, and you sign up there for the academy, and we have an entire a brimming, incredible community.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a massive thing through our Discord server.
Yes.
And then we have live classes every week. Gabby teaches live every week. I teach live every week. Kat teaches live every week, as well as we have a whole bunch of archives as well as pre-recorded courses.
The archives are intense. There's so much material there.
So much material. So yeah, great question. Let's see. Any other quick questions? Judd said lots of great people in the group. Yes, and they love to help out.
For sure.
Absolutely. All right, you guys. Well, look, I think from a from a standpoint of these performative styles that we're talking about, if you want to, I guess, discover or explore, I think it's a wonderful idea
Yeah.
to, look into, to possibly grow and find something. Maybe you're searching for that money voice that we call it, right? The voice that you're going to get hired for the
Yeah.
most. And I have to tell you, when you find it, I promise you, you will know. A lot of times when you find it, stuff takes off.
It's true.
Um, and it's not that you can't do other things, of course, but when you find that specially that people like from you. So was there a moment, Gabby? I mean, you were announced, you were in the radio field and you were
Mhm,
doing
mhm.
that. Was there a moment that you found something, or that you look back, you realize I realized this is what I was really good at, or this is what people really liked from me, even when you
Oh,
transitioned
yeah.
into being a voice actor?
Yeah, early on, but it's changed, right? It changed and it progressed. I'd say every maybe 3 to 5 years, there's kind of a movement in a different direction. So it's funny because early on, I did a lot of the robot sound. I did a lot of this sort of AI synthetic female androidish kind of thing. And that ended up being very popular in my work in promo. And so, but then it evolved. And then when I started doing more commercial work, it changed again and it moved to something that was more natural, but also, just sassier and sillier and just a bit more of a gregarious character. So, yeah.
Mm,
But I think that you're right. You find one thing, like literally one thing that helps you, that you enjoy, that people well receive. Yeah,
hmm.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I told that story a few days. I don't know, it was the beginning of the week or the end of last week about, the me finding kind of my money voice, and that was
Hmm.
out of me really searching hard for it and changing some of the things around how I
Mm,
spoke, and then all of a sudden, my voiceover career took off in the span of 6 months.
mm.
And it was a lightning. I mean, it took me a while to get it,
Yeah.
but when I did, it was pretty incredible. And what's funny is I remember speaking in that kind of style when I was younger. I mean, especially like,
Oh, how funny.
yeah, yeah, and but I didn't, well, when I say younger, I mean like as a teenager.
Hmm.
And so I was always a character person, always silly goofball, no doubt about it. But that kind of smooth, voice like this, that was kind of. I remember. I won't tell you why I remember talking like that, but I
That's
do.
funny.
But I remember.
Anthony Pica after dark. My
That's
goodness.
exact. It was something. I'm blushing about it, but the reality is it's so funny. All of us can, when we're in this search, this constant search, and then we got to go, guys. But we're in this search of trying to find who we are and what we can do, how we can deliver really interesting and exciting messages and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You do a search of your past, and sometimes you realize that things happen to be, they've always been there, you just never put two and two together,
Hmm.
that there actually were, now you actually like, oh wait, that is something that I used to do, or I used to speak like that, and I just never thought that it would be people laughing, never thought it would be money thing.
I'm laughing because what a great like philosophical moment to leave people with for the weekend. I think it's a fantastic,
Absolutely.
little thing to
Absolutely.
meditate on or spend some time with. I think it's great.
Anthony After Dark,
Yeah, I
there you
love it.
go. All right. You guys have a wonderful weekend. We love you all. Have a good one.
Thank you
Talk to
guys.
you next week. Bye,
Have a good
everybody.
day. Bye.